It's a beautiful Monday morning in the city of Lagos, southwest Nigeria. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki, and this morning I'll be reviewing the front pages of the dailies and also analyzing them with our guests. Now let's move to the front pages of the dailies. I'm starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with poor results. Anxiety as INEC keeps Nigerians waiting. To continue result announcement 11 a.m. today, says Tinubu scored highest votes in Ekiti, Atiku second. Atiku wins 20 local government in Oshun, Tinubu wins 10. Tinubu loses Ikeja to Obi, wins Ekpe, Ikorodu, Lagos Island, mainland. Gbajabiamila, Umai, Shomole, Adiola, Onyejiocha, Ben Kalu, and Dogua wins. You can see that story on page 5. And here we have some results coming from Lagos. Ikeja is saying the Labour Party won with 30,000 4 votes, while Ekpe local government, APC led in that with 19,867. Badagry local government area, APC wins with 31,903 votes, while Ikorodu local government, APC is leading with 50,353 votes. And also, there are other statements here. While Lagos mainland, APC 20,030 votes, Labour Party 18,698 votes, PDP 3,002 votes. Now, of course, to get more of this result, you can visit our website. Now, election. Lawyers charged Buhari for displaying candidates voted for. You can see that on page 26. And Away Lakemfa says it is humiliating that a retired general, former military head of state, and incumbent president out to violate electoral rules by displaying publicly before the cameras his marked ballot paper to show who he voted for. And on page 8, INEC article to INEC, upload results from PUs to check fraud. IREV, election results safe on Vivas, that's coming from INEC. You can see that still on page 8. Others raid 3 Benue villages, kill 13, injure scores. On sports, Messi set to win Best FIFA Men's Player Award. Now, stories above, we have a protest in Rivers over alleged INEC connivance to upturn results. You can see that on page 13. On page 14, polls don't throw Nigeria into crisis, Labour Party tells INEC. On page 11, presidential poll, PDP kicks as APC calls for calms. Lastly, on the financial Vanguard, optimism over election outcome drives the stock market to 16-year high. You can see that story on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. Now, away from there, let's move to the Punch newspaper. The Punch this morning is leading with hashtag election 2023 results. Tinubu wins Ekiti. Atiku tops in Oshun. Labour Party crowds foul. INEC explains the RFE cheese continues collation today. Tinubu wins Ogun. Ekiti, Oyo leads in Borno and 4 states. Atiku wins Oshun, leads in 3 states. Obi shines in Lagos, Edo, and others. You can see these stories on pages 2 and 30. NDLEA arrests 3 grandpas. You can see that on page 4. Lagos police arrest 23 suspects for electoral offences. You can see that on page 5. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, manufacturing, foreign investment drops by 48%. That can be seen on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Now let's look at the nation. The nation this morning is saying presidential poll results. APC, PCC calls for calm. INEC declares Tinubu winner in Ekiti. That can be seen on page 4. And inside, APC, PDP, Labour Party bicker over presidential election results. INEC defends integrity of results viewing a portal. Collation of presidential election results resumes today. European Union observer louds INEC election officials and ad hoc staff. See also pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 for more of that story. Oshamole, Daniel, Yayi, others for 10 Senates. Gbajabiamila wins for 6th time. You can see that story on page 4. 3 grandpas, Nigerian, arrested over 52 kg cocaine and trunk in Lagos, Kwara, and Plateau. You can see that on page 6. Stories above, rising oil production raises budgets 2023 hope. Lastly, on the Nation newspaper and sports, Mbappe, Messi, Benzema battle for FIFA best player. That can be seen on page 31 of the Nation newspaper. And the Guardian newspaper is leading with anxiety parties kick as INEC delays result upload and collation. INEC declares Tinubu winner of Ekiti, shelves a further announcement. APC plotting to alter results in Katsina, Kaduna, Kano, Zamfara, others, PDP alleges. Labour Party, we have documentary evidence results from manipulated. Only result announced by INEC is legitimate. That's coming from Yakubu. Ohaneze warns against manipulating results. Despite glitches, Yaga Africa scores beavers over 80% in areas monitored. CNPP wants results cancelled where beavers machines were bypassed. And there are more on that. You can see that on page 6. Violence in rivers as voters protest the manipulation of results. Labour Party threatens litigation over alleged disenfranchisement of members and others. You can see that on page 30. Stories above, Talks raise Kano, INEC office, target collation center. You can see that on page 30. Lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, security agent kills PDP supporter at Ondo collation center. You can see that on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break for the analysis with our guest who is in the studio. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. And joining me to analyze the front pages of the dailies this morning is Mr. Ali Muhammad. He is the CEO of Magnet Communications, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, Mr. Ali.
Good morning, Damlola. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. All right, let's talk about the results. Some results have been coming in. I mean, yesterday we spoke about the elections and what you saw.
Yes.
Now, but some results have been coming in, though INEC only announced Ikiti election results saying that APC won. But what do you think about what is currently going on, the result, and the fact that it's taking this long despite its technology that INEC used in conducting this election?
Now, talking about results flying around, as at 9 o'clock yesterday, I saw a result containing the entire 36 states, even when election was still going on in some states. Those who are posting fake results, they are not helping the system at all. They are not helping the system. They should have waited. I thought they should have waited for INEC officials to officially release the results and not individuals coming online to post results that could cause a breakdown of law and order. You know how sensitive our people could be to results of an election that a lot of people have been looking forward to. So it is good that INEC is taking charge at this time, and despite the failure of beavers in most polling booths, as at yesterday, we have seen what looks like genuine results coming out from INEC offices nationwide, from the State Electoral Commission's office nationwide. You can't have a perfect election in any environment, in any part of the world. You can't have a perfect election. But I think in spite of everything that has happened during the election, I would say that INEC has tried its best. There were a lot of failures of beavers in so many polling booths. That was not good enough. That was not good enough. We started democracy in 1999. I can recall the elections we had then. It was held amidst a lot of tensions, and at least for now, the tension has reduced drastically, even though people are still afraid to come out this morning to go about their normal duties, because in Nigeria, when you have elections, until the full results are announced by INEC, that is when people can conveniently go out and go about their duties. People are still afraid. There is panic everywhere.
But are you satisfied with the whole how everything went. Let's not forget security, the fact that
Yes,
people complain.
I cannot, like I said, you can't have a perfect election. I'm not saying that I'm satisfied. We can only improve on what we have now. Yes, security breaches here and there, despite the presence of military men, policemen, DSS officials all over the country. You can't expect all the security men to be everywhere. But we can always improve on what we have. You don't roundly condemn. If you roundly condemn the election that took place on Saturday, you are as well condemning the results. Yes, there were itches, but it's not enough to totally condemn the process. I thought INEC would have done some simulation exercise before the election, using the beavers, especially being a major instrument that will be used for the election, for identification, and for the uploading of
The
the
results.
results. But that didn't happen. It is not enough to roundly condemn the election totally and say it is a write-off. No, we have tried. We can always improve on what we have on Saturday.
But let's talk about the adult staffs of INEC. Some of the the coppers that they used, they came out to complain that they were not paid. That some of they slept outside, they could not eat, and they're saying they will boycott the upcoming governorship election. So, what do you think about these actions from INEC? Don't you think this is part of what we actually compromise? And because we
If
have to talk
you,
about these coppers, most of them they are youth and they are
I
still
know
naive.
it is not the first time we've had such a situation. It happens during every election. I can assure you that INEC will sort it out before the next election. We've always had situations where some people will not be paid, some people will be paid, some people will come out to complain that they slept outside, they trekked from their residences to their various polling booths. I won't say it's a normal thing. We've always had that situation during elections. But I can assure you that it will be sorted out. Watch out for the next election in March. You'll be surprised that the same people that complained will be seen conducting the election. It's a normal thing.
All right, the security officials. There were videos that went
Mm.
around yesterday and 2 days ago, where police officers were seen scattering and throwing away ballot paper. So, what do you have to say
That
about this?
was
Because
a great embarrassment on the part of the security. I saw the video and I felt ashamed that the people that are supposed to protect and ensure a smooth electioneering process are themselves engaged in acts that are against the nation's electoral laws. The government must do something to call and to call those people to question, because you don't just do such a thing in uniform. As a uniformed man, you are supposed to be unbiased. But here we saw uh, policemen in uniform working for political parties. The government should investigate that situation and bring the culprits to book. It is very important because we still have another election ahead of us. Because if care is not taken, people could mobilize against policemen simply because of that act. We've had terrible situations where policemen were attacked and killed. We don't want that to be repeated.
all right, President Muhammadu Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, ignored warnings by INEC concerning display of thumb-printed ballots, and so many lawyers have been complaining about this, saying they were not supposed to do that.
It is unfortunate that those who are supposed to protect the laws of the land are the ones breaking it. They probably forgot that they are not supposed to do what they did. They, especially the Attorney General of the Federation, the number one chief law officer of the country, was involved in this act that is against the laws of the land. It is unfortunate. You can pardon the person of the president because of his age. He may not remember that it is against the law to display your voters what is it voter slip. He probably forgot, and out of being emotional, that he wants people to say that he's supporting his party's candidate. But what about the Attorney General of the Federation, the Chief Law Officer of the Federation? Unfortunately, these are the people that could sanction anybody involved in such an error. They are the ones that have committed the error. So who is going to sanction them?
Hmm.
It is unfortunate that it happened through the two key officers of the federal government, number one citizen and the number one law officer of the federation. So tell me, Damilola, who is going to sanction these two key officers of this government? It is unfortunate. I think we should learn to obey the laws of the land, just like we want the people to obey the laws. So if in the next election I chose to display the party or the candidate that I am voting for, who is going to arrest me? You are creating a state of anarchy. If as a government official you are breaking the laws that you are supposed to protect. Everybody can decide in the next election that they want to show their friends or people that came to vote who they voted for. And effectively, you can't do anything if there are deliberate efforts to challenge that kind of situation in the courts.
All right. Quickly, I wanted to just talk on this one. The fact that so many people complain that Beavers was unable to upload the presidential result, but it was successful when uploading the senatorial result and the House of Rep result. Is this something going
There
on?
were there were confusing statements from INEC. One INEC official came out with a statement that Beavers was not supposed to be used to upload the
Presidential result.
presidential result, that it was supposed to be used for the Senate and Reps election, which also took place last Saturday. Then within 24 hours, there is a counter statement that the Beavers is supposed to be used for the three elections. So with these two conflicting statements, you find it difficult to establish the facts whether Beavers was meant for the three elections or it was meant for just
Just
the Senate and House of Reps elections. Whatever it is not good that Beavers disappointed in so many polling booths. We have to improve on it. And it is such a sensitive material, a key material that we need to function well during elections.
But with what has gone on with these Beavers, do you think the manual process is better than the Beavers?
The manual process cannot be better than, because the manual process was subject to a lot of manipulations. What we used to have was a situation where 50 will vote in a polling booth, and when the results are out, you find 75 people being mentioned as voters. You could easily manipulate that process. But with Beavers, despite the fact that it failed, it didn't fail all through the process of election on Saturday. Maybe it failed for a few hours, and for those few hours, you have to bypass it because there is a major list that was pasted on the wall close to the polling area where you have to go and look out for your name. Once you are able to see your name there and they cross check on the list that they have with them, you are allowed to vote. You understand what I'm saying? If your name is not seen, you won't be allowed to vote, Beavers or no Beavers. Because I think all the names have been uploaded to the Beavers. So it is the Beavers that is supposed to accredit you before you can go into the polling booth to cast your vote. So, but once it failed, they had a backup. From what I saw on Saturday, they had a backup. That is the list, a comprehensive list of voters in different polling area. And so, if you look at that system, if the operators or INEC officials work strictly with that process, there wouldn't have been any malpractices in the conduct of that election. But what we used to have under the manual system was a situation where 26 people or 50 people will be accredited. And when the votes have been counted, you get over 100 voters. Through thumb printing at the back of the polling booths, and once polling is completed, they just bring the thumb printed ballot papers into the box to be counted. Yes, I saw some people or in some videos that circulated on Saturday, thumb printing. There must be a way to invalidate those votes because those people did not go through the right process before they were able to vote. So there must be a process where such votes could be invalidated. Otherwise, you cannot say the system that we saw on video on Saturday was free and fair. That little action or misaction could destroy the entire process in the areas where they took place.
But in some local governments in Rivers State, people have started protesting over an alleged connivance of officials of INEC, and they said some political bigwigs to upturn results of the presidential and the National Assembly election.
It is unfortunate that INEC officials are colluding with voters and party agents to upturn results of elections that is supposed to have been duly counted and appended to by polling agents and INEC officials. Again, you can't rule out this kind of practice. This is Nigeria for you. Everybody is desperate to win election. They want to do all they can, either right or wrong, to win election. It is not the best, but we must make progress and advance further in our electoral system. Otherwise, if we keep brooding or crying over all this, we won't make any progress. Don't forget that we started this democratic journey over 30 years ago, and we have made a lot of progress. Now we have beavers. In those days, you have to stand and they will count you 1, 2, 3. You could be 50, but at the end of the voting, you will see over 200 ballot papers. And so we have improved greatly. The electoral body should take steps to perfect the processes of voting so that we have reduced cases of malpractices and bribing of voters. Then again, a situation that will create tension in the polity. It is not good for us. Go out this morning, all the roads were empty because of this palpable fear that the results has not been announced. It is not so in advanced countries. You see people in UK coming out of their offices to vote peacefully and perfectly, and they go back to their homes. At the end of voting that day, you will get the results. But we will get there. We are also growing, and then I believe in the next few years, we should have perfected the act of voting peacefully without cheating. If we have the government that is determined to enforce the electoral laws without consideration for individuals or parties.
All right, quickly, our time is fast spent, but I want you to talk on this one, the fact that many people expected to see military officers, soldiers in all polling units, but it was just surprising to the people that they could not even it's just a few places that you could see them. I mean, we saw them entering Lagos in numbers
Yes,
days before.
there was a lot of hype about the presence of soldiers. Yes, on Friday night when I was coming back home from a social outing, we were stopped in front of the cantonment and delayed for over 1 hour because the soldiers were moving out of that cantonment, Ikeja cantonment, and they had to turn to go towards Ikeja. So those of us that were coming from Maryland were stopped for over an hour. So that gives the impression there is a state of siege in Lagos. But we didn't see that siege in Lagos. No, don't forget that Lagos is a big city. It is difficult to have soldiers manning each polling booth. It is not possible. What they did was to patrol all areas where they see miscreants trying to cause trouble. They will stop. From what I saw, because I went out as a journalist that day for a few minutes, in the process, I saw a few of them doing stop and search along the airport road. Those are areas that must be protected. They mounted roadblocks there. So if you must pass through there, you have to identify yourself. Your car will be searched, and then you are allowed to go if nothing is found on you. But in the cities, densely populated areas, they were just patrolling, and they had these telephone numbers that they gave out for people to call if there are breaches here and there. So they were called through those numbers to come to areas that experienced the violence, and they responded. So it is difficult to deploy soldiers to every polling booth. Instead, policemen were deployed, and that was done through area commands, and then what is it? DPOs. If you are DPO Ikeja, you take the list of polling areas in Ikeja and deploy 2, 3 policemen there. Some of them were armed, but most of them were not armed. You understand? At least I'm telling you what I saw on Saturday. So, but in critical situations, soldiers were calling to take control of the situation.
All right, Stanley, let's end this on a lighter note with Mr. and Mrs. And of course, but they are still speaking in the election tone. Mrs. says, he paid for my taxi fare when I misplaced my purse and even gave me 10,000 naira extra. You are here bad mouthing him like Nigerian politicians who mudsling opposition instead of telling us their manifestos. And Mr. replied, okay, enough campaign. I am hungry.
Abi? you can't take two things from a man.
I guess now that election is almost over, the presidential people will now be talking about the naira scarcity and all that again.
But honestly, Damilola, that was what I told myself last night, that now that the presidential election is over and those people they targeted are almost through with the process, at least by today or tomorrow, the result will be announced. The scarcity of the naira should be over. Yes, we should have access to our money. You can't have money in the bank and not have access to it. You can't do transfer. I have close to 70,000. The money that I have transferred for different purposes hanging. They didn't get to their destinations and they didn't return back to my account. So when I leave here this morning, I have to go to my banks to complain. So if anybody want money from me now, I'm sorry, I can't transfer. Because, I mean, if you have so
that's
much
a
money,
good message. If
yes.
Stanley says he can't transfer,
Yeah, that is the truth. It's a terrible experience. You are in the house, you don't have cash. It has never happened that I will be in the house and I have 2,000 naira.
I guess you are rich.
It is
Next to 12
disturbing.
people, you have 2,000
No,
naira.
I've been keeping that 2,000 for about a week now. When I see things that I should buy in traffic, I will have to caution myself. You have 2,000 naira, so don't buy it. I think it's a lesson in finance management.
It is.
It is a lesson, and it will come to be part of us for a long time to
I
come.
think some people need to come to Nigeria to go and learn. Learn. You have to do a special course on that. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for joining me this
Right.
morning.
You're most welcome.
Yes, he's now the CEO of Magnates Communications, former editor of
Mhm.
Daily Times and Concord newspaper. He just reviewed and analyzed some of the stories on the front pages with us this morning. Now, to get more of our top stories, you can follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. My name is Dablola Okushakin. Do have a lovely day and don't forget to follow, the results coming up on our website.